Hi everyone, today we'll be going over the new TenantCloud navigation. First, we'll start off on the dashboard where you'll be landing on the Overview tab. This will show you widgets for everything in the account, including what you recently viewed, your leases, whether they're active, future, ended, or draft, an accounting widget for a quick look at your financials for the months, some widgets along the side that show your income, your expenses, and your overdue. Down at the bottom, you'll see your tasks, any expiring leases, applications, some online payments that came through, your overdue invoices, and any maintenance request. If we scroll back up to the top, the next tab over will be the Calendar tab. This will show you any tasks or reminders that you've set for yourself. You can also integrate this with your Google Calendar if you're on our Pro or Business plan. The tab next to that is going to be your tasks. This is where you can add a daily task, recurring, or just a one-time task. They'll all be listed here as open or resolved. You'll see any that are assigned for today and then any of your recurring tasks. Up at the top right, we'll have the Messenger. And this will have tabs along the side. TT stands for any of your tenant threads. SP will be your Service Pro threads. If you're on the property manager mode, OW will stand for any conversations you've had with your property owners. PB, which is property board, is available on our Pro and Business plans, and this will allow you to post property-wide or to all properties any mass notices. And down at the bottom, you'll have MR for your maintenance request thread. Up at the right next to the Messenger, you'll have a question mark, and this is going to be your resource center. You can visit your help center from here, any webinars we have, some case studies, and submit a ticket for customer support to help you resolve any issues that you run into. If we click on our name or company name at the top right, you'll see that you have the option to go to your settings, and all of your settings will be found here. If we go back to the left-hand menu, the next section that we'll take a look at is the portfolio. The first tab we'll land on the portfolio is going to be where your properties will be listed. You can add a property from here or import properties. If you click on a property, you'll be able to see a snapshot of the financials. If it's a multi-unit, you'll also see a breakdown of what's occupied versus what's vacant. And then you will see any general information, property amenities, and property attachments at the bottom. At the bottom of the left-hand column, you can assign what bank account the income or deposit goes to. You can also assign team members if you are on the Pro or Business plan. You can see a count of the tenants, the maintenance request, any recurring request, and any equipment assigned to that property. If you click on tenant, you'll be brought to the Renters tab, which will list any of your contacts that are associated with that property. If we go back to the properties page, you'll have some more tabs along the top. Specs is going to be where you can record any of the finishes such as paints, doors, flooring, or even keys that you have assigned or used on this property. The next tab over is going to be the owners. So if you're on that property manager mode, you'd be able to assign your owner to their appropriate property, set up any automatic owner distribution, automatic management fees, renewal fees, and any service fees. The next tab is going to be financials. And this is where you can record your insurance policies, your loan information, and your purchase information. The last tab under the property is going to be the service providers. This is where you can assign a permanent maintenance request assignee where all of the maintenance requests for that property will be sent to this Service Pros account. Under that, you can also list the utility providers for that property for your own information. At the top right, you'll have the option to add a unit. And under actions, you can edit the property, delete a property, and when it's vacant, you can also archive the property. You will also have a banner at the top from Steadily. If you are looking for insurance, this is a great place to start. You can click Get Covered to get a quote from Steadily. The next tab under Portfolio is going to be your units. Here you'll see all of your multi-unit properties broken down by unit, showing whether they're occupied or vacant. You also have the option to list the unit from here, or you can view the unit to see more of the details for that unit. This will be laid out similarly to the properties page. First, you'll be on the profile where you'll see any general information. You also have the tenant count, equipment, recurring request, and maintenance. Next, you'll have the specs where you can log those finishes again. And lastly, we'll have the service providers tab where you can record what utilities the tenant is responsible for and what utilities you're responsible for. At the top right, you'll have the option to list the unit again, move in a tenant, or under actions, you'll have edit unit, clone unit, or delete unit. If we go back to portfolio, the next tab over is going to be keys and locks. This is where you can store any fobs or keys that you rent out with your units. You can add a key at the top right and you can unassign it once somebody has moved out. The last tab under portfolio is going to be equipment. Here at the top, you'll see any assigned equipment versus unassigned, any that are scheduled for a checkup, and any warranty expirations that are coming up in the next 30 days. Below, you'll list all of your equipment that you've added to the system. This is a great place to record your appliances, which ones are in which properties, when those warranties expire, and when they were purchased. The next section we'll take a look at is going to be listings and applications. Once you click here, you'll land on the listings page. Here you'll see a card for each of your units or properties. You will have the option to list that unit at the bottom of the card, but you can also go to the top right corner and click Add Listing. You'll also have a link to your listing website, as well as a quick click button to the listing and application settings, and you can change from list view to grid view. At the top, you can filter this by the listed status, how many days it's been listed, and what syndication package that you chose for that listing. The next tab under listings and applications is going to be the leads. This will show any of the leads that are populated from your listing. The next tab is going to be applications. Any applicants that send their applications to you will apply here. You can also add an application if you do have someone in the office that you'd like to manually fill the application out with, or you can invite to apply from up here. The button next to that will allow you to screen any of the applicants that apply to your listings. The tab next to applications is going to be screenings. This will show any of your screening reports. They are available to view for 30 days. After that, they will expire, so you will want to download them to your computer if you need to save them for a certain length of time. The next section we'll take a look at is going to be renters. When you click on renters, you'll be taken to your list of leases. This will show active, ended, draft, past. You can filter this by lease status and save the filter that you choose. From here, you can click on the lease and view all of the information for the tenant's recurring charges. The tenant's name, the rent amount, or any other recurring transactions, as well as extra fees such as late fees or management fees, any agreements and notices, their insurance coverage, and then their utilities. You can also renew from the top right, edit each section, and there is a clock icon that will be the timeline feature for that lease. If we go back to renters, the next tab at the top is going to be the occupancy board. This is only available on our Pro and Business plan, but it's a great visual way to see when those leases are expiring. You can also filter this by lease status, property, or property type. The next tab over is going to be our balances. This will auto default to be filtered for the time period of 0 to 30 days, but you can clear that filter and you can save whatever filter you'd like to view when you come to this page. You'll see here that you'll see all of the tenants' balances, and you can send a notice from here as well. The next tab at the top is going to be renters. This will list all of your tenant contacts, leading you to their profile. If we go back to the left-hand menu, the next tab down is going to be the revenues tab. Here you'll first land on your invoices page. This will show you paid, open, partially overdue, and voided revenue. This page will default to have the current month filtered, but you can clear that like I did and then save it unfiltered. The next tab at the top is going to be where your payments will be stored. This will be all of your revenue payments. As you can see, this one will default to only showing the current month as well, but I can clear that and save that unfiltered. Here I'll see the status of the tenant's payment and then the status of my payout to my bank, or if I manually marked them as paid. The next tab at the top is going to be the recurring tab, and this will list any of the recurring revenue transactions that you have set up in the system. The last tab under revenues is going to be refunds. This will list any of the refunds that you've done, deposit returns, and at the top right of all of these sections, you'll have the money in option, which will give you income invoices, income payments, recurring income, bulk change, deposits, credits, owner contributions, and management fees. Under the money out option, you'll have your expense invoices, expense payments, recurring expenses, bulk change, returning the deposit, applying a deposit, and owner distributions. The next section we'll take a look at on the left-hand menu is going to be expenses. This is set up very similarly to the revenues section. You will first land on the expense invoices, and this will include all statuses: open, partial, overdue, voided. The next tab over is going to be the payment, just like the revenue payments. This will be filtered. Again, you can unfilter it and save it. And this will show all of your expense payments that are either recorded in TenantCloud and paid outside the system or paid through the system to a service pro. The last tab under expenses is going to be recurring. This will show you all of your recurring expenses that you logged in your account. Again, at the top right, you'll have the money in and money out options. The next section we'll look at is going to be the owner financials. When you click on owner financials, you'll first be taken to the management fee tab. This will list all of your open management fees, and you are able to manage them in bulk, or you can click on each one and manage them that way. The next tab over is going to be your distribution fees. This will show any of your open owner distributions, and you will have to filter them by the owner. The next tab over is going to be your owner transactions. This will include any owner distributions, any owner contributions, and anything under those two main categories. The last tab under owner financials is going to be your owners. This will list your owner contacts much like the tenants were listed in renters, and you can view their profiles from here. The next tab on the left-hand menu is going to be reconciliation. The reconciliation feature under the reconciliation tab is only available for our pro and business users, and it does allow you to bring your bank statement over and match each line item with an invoice in TenantCloud. Your goal would be to get that difference to 0. The next tab that we'll take a look at is going to be where your reports are. This will hold all of your rental reports as well as your financial reports. The next section we'll look at is going to be the property services, and the first tab on that section is going to be the documents tab. From here, you'll land on the landlord's forms, and this is all of the forms that we offer that have been written with attorneys based on local and state regulations, and then it'll also include your general forms. These state-specific forms are free to our pro and business users. If you are on the starter or growth plan, you can purchase them for $149 for lifetime access as long as you have your TenantCloud account, or you can purchase each individual template for $39. The next tab under documents is going to be My Templates. This is where you can upload your own documents and build out templates that use our autofill elements. The last tab under documents is going to be your file manager. This will house any of your documents, images, videos. All of your files will be stored here. You can select these to delete, preview, or download in bulk. The next page under the property services section is going to be maintenance. When you first click on maintenance, you'll be taken to the request tab. This will list all of your requests from each property, and you can change this to be separated by property or just have one continuous list. You can also do expanded or compact view. The next tab under maintenance is going to be the request board. This feature is only available for our pro and business plans, but it's a great way to visually see what maintenance requests you're still working on, what are in progress, what's new, and what's been resolved. The next tab under maintenance is going to be your recurring maintenance. So this will be anything that you've set up to be a recurring maintenance request within your system. The last tab under maintenance is going to be your service pro contacts. This is just like the renters tab and the owners tab, and you can view their profiles from this tab. The last tab under the property services section is going to be inspections. Here, you'll see any move-in or move-out inspections that you've requested, and you can click Request Inspection at the top right to initiate a new one. Now we'll have one last stop at the bottom, which will be our downloads. This will house any of the reports that you've downloaded from TenantCloud so that you're able to download them to your computer. And that was an overview of our new navigation layout. After receiving such positive feedback on this navigation, it will be implemented for all users March 31st, 2026. We hope this video provides guidance on how to better take advantage of all the features that your TenantCloud offers.